No. Good evening and welcome to Nationwide Today on the network service of the NTA. I am Elizabeth Omori. Nigerians should expect more positive impacts of democratic governance through better legislations by the 10th National Assembly. Senate President Godswill Akpabio gave the assurance in Kefi when he paid Salah homage to the National Chairman, All Progressives Congress, APC, Abdullahi Adamu, in company of other members of the Senate. Blessing Danfulani has details.
The proclamation by President Ahmed Bola Tinubu for the inauguration of the 10th National Assembly, Senator Godswill Akpabio emerged as Senate President. Legislative business has barely commenced. However, there is a ray of hope as Senate President Godswill Akpabio assures Nigerians of better legislation in the Red Chamber for the socio-economic prosperity of the country.
Nigerians should expect total support from the legislature. We believe strongly that we have a lot to offer from the National Assembly to make laws that will promote good governance, to bring about legislation that will attract foreign direct investment, to assist the current President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to create employment opportunities for Nigerians. And anything we can do from the parliamentary point of view in terms of making the right laws, we will do so.
Every aspect of this country is a continuing process. We'll continue to do the much circumstances and time will permit us to do. And I'm sure the National Assembly is on the same page with us on that. We'll continue to take every conceivable step to build bridges, to create understanding, and where there's difficulty understanding, we explain as much as we can humanly do, and then hope for the best.
It is hoped his tenure will have synergy with both the executive and the judiciary for the good of Nigeria and Nigerians. From Kefi, Blessing Danfulani, NTA News.
And the People's Democratic Party Action 2023 group is urging the Senate not to intervene in the issue of minority leadership. Timothy Yusuf reports that another group has, however, cautioned the PDP-led minority not to indulge in acts capable of disuniting the Senate.
Some political leaders who are members of the Citizens Network for Peace and Development in Nigeria believe that some aggrieved PDP senators and others are allegedly plotting to create crisis in the 10th Senate. Such moves will be counterproductive, members of the Citizens Network emphasized.
We are therefore compelled by the need to promote the welfare of the ordinary citizens in the country to make this appeal to the said senators to follow the path of national interest.
The PDP Action 2023, on the contrary, believes that the Senate should, at this time, channel energy towards delivering sound legislation and good policies to ensure good governance in Nigeria at this critical period of change and renewal. The group's chairman, Dr. Rufus Omere, in a statement appealed to the Senate leadership not to dabble into the minority leadership issue of the 10th Senate, as such could destabilize the Senate. The PDP Youth Directorate at its own meeting is hopeful of a favorable outcome at the Presidential Election Petition Court.
And we are here to interact with them, engage them, and see better ways of networking.
The Directorate promised to play according to the rules at all times. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
And with only 3 women representatives at the 10th Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, stakeholders have called for reorientation, even as they identify culture, economy and politics as elements that affect the progress of women in Africa and Nigeria. Mina Adobe Ukaobasi reports that these were the thirds of participants at a two-day sensitization workshop organized by the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs in collaboration with African Development Bank in Enugu.
Effective mainstreaming of gender perspectives has remained emerging issues in all spheres. Reason for the continuous review of national gender policies, the workshop, which is aimed at ensuring strategic implementation of all frameworks and plans, the organizers say became expedient given daunting circumstances women currently face.
It is very, very important that women are carried along. It is very, very important that the vulnerable, the poor, children are also carried along. So the essence of this exercise is to make sure that gender mainstreaming is achieved in the southeastern part of the country.
Participants, however, voiced their concern on the non-implementation of the new national gender policy signed by government, including the 50% women affirmative action, and called on government to put it to action.
When we talk about equality, we are not talking about measuring our muscles, but giving women enough chance. Looking at the conventions and national treaties that give women some percentage to be represented in the affairs of things.
We have made some significant progress with previous administration, particularly the administration of President Goodluck Jonathan, which did very well with women.
They called on government to not just sign policies, but also do well to implement them. The workshop was attended by representatives of Ministries of Women Affairs from the Southeast Zone, representatives of paramilitary organizations in the zone, as well as staff of Ministry of Women and Gender Affairs from the Southeast Zone. In Enugu, Mina Adobe Ukaobasi, NTA News.
You're watching Nationwide on NTA. Time to join Michael in the Center of Excellence, Lagos, for more reports. Hello, Michael, and nice to see you.
Hello, Elizabeth. Nice to see you. Keen on maintaining its status as a strategic ally for international trade via the maritime domain, Nigeria will continue to sustain partnership with other navies of the world in order to create a solid platform able to fight crimes and criminalities at seas. The flag officer commanding Western Naval Command Rear Admiral Joseph Akpan stated this while receiving the China Navy Escort Task Group on port call to Nigeria. Sitting at the apex of the bilateral relations between Nigeria and China, which spans over 50 years, is the trade volume in the region of $26 billion as at the end of 2022. It is a huge investment requiring constant reminder on the need to sustain its growth, and this port call is one of such diplomatic efforts. The colorful reception given to MSL destroyer Nanning, one of the three Chinese vessels on this port call, attestates to China's growing stake in Nigeria. While the number of delegates put at 700, the Chinese ambassador to Nigeria confirms is the single largest to the country this year.
I know that it is time for China PLA and the Nigeria Defense Force and the military sector to work together to build our strength, to counter the challenge, overcome the obstacles. And I am confident that this trip will do more things to facilitate, promote the relation between the two great countries.
The Nigerian Navy is obviously proud of its feat, which has attracted recognition globally, and this port call from China, it is believed will strengthen its tactical and strategic capabilities.
During this period of stay, our men will be interacting. There's also something they call sea riders, where we have some of our men on board their ship, and they can also have some of their own men on board our ship. So actually it helped to foster that friendship across the horizon.
This visit is a follow-up to China's donation of 46-meter patrol boats and military equipment to the Navy last year. Flooding is a major challenge during the rainy season, and Lagos, being a coastal state, is no exception. Lynn Neneke reports that some residents in flood-prone areas visited in the metropolis are enjoying the break after the heavy downpour recently experienced.
Clouds taking a break residents in the flood-prone areas are less perturbed about the perennial flooding. However, many residing in these areas of the metropolis have over the years been displaced, while others suffer waterborne diseases. These respondents say that the responsibility of ensuring that the canals and drains are cleared and free from debris to enable free flow of water requires the collective efforts of all.
First and foremost, government should stop people building house on a water channel. That's number one. Then number two, people who are in charge of environmental in Lagos State should make sure that every local government take care of their own area to ensure that every gutter we are cleaning up.
Be packing those days before the commencement of the rainy season. So I think if we can join hand and do that, there won't be much flooding in our environment.
These environmentalists, adopting necessary measures by all will go a long way in ensuring that mitigating flood in the state is achievable.
We do decide to sandfill the mangrove, then we must put the right adequate drainage system in place, drainage that can carry the volumes of water that shall be forthcoming. And also, in terms of these drains, we must make the general public know that it is a serious offense to be throwing rubbish into the drains. A drain is not a dustbin. And when you throw rubbish, especially things like plastic, into the drains, it blocks the drain, it can cause flood, and that plastic that you threw in there could be responsible for taking somebody's life.
Lagos State government is intensifying cleaning and expansion of drainage channels to address the challenges of flooding in the state. In Lagos, Lynn Lenake, NTA News.
Those are the stories making the rounds in Lagos at this time. We'll take a break. Now, Nationwide continues with Felicia Injust. Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates.
On to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Welcome to Jos. Special prayers for continued peace and stability of the country were offered during an interdenominational church service at the All Saints Protestant Church, Maxwell Kobe Cantonment, Rukuba, to mark Army Day celebration. Ndenyang and Dayabagyang has details.
Gathered here are serving and retired officers and men for an interdenominational service to mark 160 years of existence of the Nigerian Army. Reverend Father Martins Awoyinka, who presided over the service, congratulated the Nigerian Army for the anniversary, urging the celebrants not to relent in the discharge of their duties of protecting the nation's integrity.
Our unflinching commitment to defend the territorial integrity of Nigeria. Our commitment to our core values of loyalty, integrity, selfless service, and courage are demanded of us again today.
General Officer Commanding 3 Division, represented, appreciates the role of the Nigerian Army in national security, urging them to sustain efforts.
We are committed to protecting lives, property against aggressors. And therefore, urging all law-abiding citizens to continue to support and operate agencies within the area.
The event ended with a Thanksgiving. In Jos, Ndenyan and Dayabagyang, NTA News.
Away from religious matters, the Director General Industrial Training Fund, Joseph Ari, says capacity building and infrastructure development are key factors in enhancing productivity at workplace. The Director General stated this while inaugurating
A multipurpose hall and gymnasium at the Industrial Training Fund headquarters in Jos. Sadatu Mohamed Kafa reports.
The multipurpose hall, named after the former head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, comprises main conference hall with a seating capacity of 1,500 persons, 2 gymnasiums, system control room, gallery and
This ultra-modern building will equally provide the fund the opportunity to have a state-of-the-art edifice befitting of a learning and development organization such as the ITF. From the inception of this management in 2016, the provision of facilities that would enable Nigerians from all nooks and crannies have access to training has been at the front burner of our policy direction.
The Director General, in company of management staff, thereafter inspected the multipurpose hall, commending the quality of work and timely completion of the project. In Jos, Saadatu Muhammad Kafa, NTA News.
And that does it from Jos. Elizabeth is back to you in Abuja for the continuation of Nationwide.
Thank you so much, Felicia. The Director General, National Council for Arts and Culture, Olusegun Osewe, says the time has come for Nigeria to take culture tourism business seriously and give it all the political and financial push needed to derive the expected gains, while commending Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde for strategically repositioning the state tourism economy, separating it from information. The Director General, NCAC, said this development is not only cheerful, but a strategic effort to promote and market the cultural tourism economy of Oyo State to a destination rich in culture, history and tradition. Olusegun Osewe appeals to other governors to properly situate the strength of the tourism economy, drive it through an exclusive process and engagements, partnering with the private sector tourism practitioners. Governor Seyi Makinde recently separated tourism from the State Ministry of Information, Tourism and Culture, saying information will now be run as separate ministry, devoid of having tourism and culture as main appendages. Let's not talk constitutional roles. If bringing government close to the people is a major feature of federal system of government, then state as a second tier of government is at the center of it all. Ignatius Nkwor in this background report highlights the major constitutional roles of state governments in Nigeria, challenges and prospects.
Constitutional division of functions among the tiers of government is a major feature of federalism. 68 items are contained in the exclusive list. The exclusive list reserved for the federal government, while 12 in the concurrent list. The concurrent list is where the federal and state government have powers to legislate on. These include allocation of revenue, antiquities and monuments, archives, collection of taxes, electoral law, exhibition of industrial, commercial or agricultural development centers, scientific and technological research, universities, technological and post-primary education. These are very significant developmental projects that mitigate poverty among the people. But where there is conflict among the two tiers of government, the federal law overrides. There have been debates on the status of states and Nigeria's fiscal federalism. Maintenance of law and order and the protection of citizens' rights remain the most significant function of the second tier of government.
Securing of lives and property are roles that both the state and federal government performs.
Some persons have continued to call for more economic empowerment for states.
There have been several clamor in our great country on the need to renegotiate, intergovernmental fiscal relations, in appropriating more responsibility and revenue to states.
Notwithstanding the constitutional demarcation of roles, the federal government has taken some steps in ensuring true federalism, although not enough has been done, allowing states to establish their local security outfits. The 9th National Assembly amended the Constitution and empowered states to go into electricity generation and distribution, allowing states to carry out federal projects within their jurisdiction.
The National Assembly have amended the bill. The states have the powers to go into provision of energy. Look, unemployment in Nigeria, it is the people who couch the constitution, bringing the power provision under the purview of the federal.
A lot of things were the importance of the constitution tells a lot to the people. And there are other areas which the laws made for years, 1979, and they need to be amended. They have to go with the time.
Federal government makes provision of special security to states with peculiarities. The need for improved revenue generation by states has become inevitable. Observers believe that reduction in the cost of governance, allowing states to be in charge of value-added tax within its jurisdiction, and the automation of tax system will make them buoyant enough to cater for its citizens. Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
With the slogan Center of Excellence, Lagos State, apart from being Nigeria's commercial capital, is the fifth largest economy in Africa. But amidst this enviable fate are the perennial challenges of gridlocks and flooding. Joel Popola reports that to tackle the hydra-headed mobster, the state government is working on improving transportation and infrastructure as part of its key development priorities.
Nigeria's former capital, Lagos, which is often described as a land of opportunities, has grown to become a mega city with remarkable improvements across all sectors of the economy. Analysts say one of the factors for this is the government's strict compliance with the state's master plan, which has become a roadmap for development, guiding successive administration in the state.
We stand on the threshold of a new era, an era that calls for us to evolve, where every citizen is a part of our growth story, and where the global community looks forward to us with respect and admiration.
Despite the structure, Lagos is bedeviled with challenges of flooding and traffic congestion, an unwanted narrative the state is trying to change through its transformation policy. Many Lagosians believe the state government should spread its developmental tentacles all around Lagos so that no part is left behind, and pressure that causes gridlock in some areas is checked.
Affordable housing programs have been implemented. However, there remains a necessity for additional affordable choices to cater to the increasing demand of a growing population.
One of the challenges that has been prevalent is traffic congestion. What I look forward to them doing is to put some infrastructure in some certain area.
Some political actors also emphasize the need to give special attention to infrastructural development that factors in the ever-growing population of Lagos and its economic prowess.
Lagos is not only for Lagosians. Lagos is a miniature Nigeria. There is nowhere, there is no tribe in Nigeria that is not in Lagos. So when you do something special for Lagos, you are doing it for the whole country.
Economic analysts believe that the pressure on Lagos will be drastically reduced if development spreads to neighboring states. In Lagos, Joel Popola, NTA News.
You're still watching Nationwide on NTA, and Nana in our Sokoto Network Center has some reports for us from her zone. Let's hear from you, Nana.
Elizabeth, welcome everyone to Sokoto. Sultan of Sokoto Muhammad Saad Abubakar says as leaders they will continue to listen to and accept sound advice from their subjects. He was speaking while receiving the Emir of Argungu, Samaila Muhammad Mira, at his palace. Alhatu Abdullahi reports.
Sultan Muhammad Saad Abubakar expressed gratitude to the Emir of Argungu, Samaila Muhammad Mira, for the Salah homage. He expressed the belief that such visit will continue to make their long-existing relationship to work even stronger. He said traditional leaders' role is to serve the people. The Sultan said traditional leaders are fallible, saying they are ready to accept advice in the interest of peace and development. He called on Nigerians to continue to pray for God's intervention in the affairs of the country. Earlier, Emir of Argungu Samaila Muhammad Mira told the Sultan that they were at the palace for Salah homage. He underscored the long-existing relationship between the Sultanate and the Emirate. He commended the Sultan for his fatherly role and service to humanity at all times. The Emir prayed for the safe return of all the Nigeria's pilgrims From Mecca in Saudi Arabia, in Sokoto, Dalhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Over 6,000 persons with disabilities have been screened to benefit from 6,100 naira monthly stipend to be paid by the Sokoto state government. Dalhatu Abdullahi again reports that the payment has commenced.
These are persons with disabilities who have benefited from the 6,500 naira stipend following their screening by present administration in the state. Some of the beneficiaries thanked the Sokoto state government for the gesture and assured of using the money judiciously. They prayed for the government of Sokoto state and all those that made the payment a reality. Chairman Committee for the payment of the 6,500 naira stipend, Dr. Rafai Ismail Ahmad Rungumi, said the committee has so far screened over 6,000 beneficiaries and they have started receiving their allowances. He said that the committee has currently paid beneficiaries from Godabawa, Sokoto North and Amanawa centers, saying that Bodinga, Gada and Kwari will be settled without further delay. He disclosed that the committee will attend to all the remaining local governments. He added that 40 Jumu'at mosques were also screened and 36 more Jumu'at mosques have applied to benefit from the gesture.
We have about 7,000 physically challenged individuals. And with this kind of verification, the number I think will narrow down to 6,000 or less than that, which will now enable the executive governor maybe to include other physical challenge which were not benefiting from this kind of allowances.
The payment is a continuous exercise. In Sokoto, Dalhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
That's our story. That's our package for today. Nation One will continue after this commercial break in Abuja.
Welcome back. Consolidating the gains of the previous administration is what political analysts in Kaduna have been agitating as part of mechanisms to stop wastage of public funds. Adamu Sunday reports that promoting a culture of continuity of good policies in governance is key to sustainable development.
Kaduna State remains a center of learning and one of the leading industrial hubs in the north and the country in general. Governor of Kaduna State, Senator Obasani, in his inaugural speech says, building on the legacy of his predecessor is key in ensuring the progress of the state in all facets. His administration will undertake programs and policies geared toward enhancing productivity, encourage creativity, and harness the rich diversity of the state. These analysts say it is the right step in the right direction.
If we can get governors to invest in those local communities, it will further improve health status of the people, life well-being, and of course we expect them to be able to produce more. When they have better roads, they could move their agricultural products to the city center and it could affect the prices of food and goods, and then the market could stabilize. We have to make sure that power reach the rural areas, and the rural areas have the way to be able to refine and process their products.
In Kanu, northern Nigeria's commercial hub, Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf, upon assumption of office, pledged to bridge infrastructure deficit in the health and education sectors. Another priority identified by the governor is the creation of additional road networks to boost commercial and agricultural activities.
Healthcare system, social amenities, and other infrastructural development for the betterment of our citizens.
Jigawa being an agrarian state with majority of people engaged in farming activities, the challenges of perennial flooding has continued to remain a concern to previous and present state governments as the economy of the state relies solely on agriculture.
The governor deploy machines, especially in those affected areas, and start doing embankment.
Speaker, Jigawa State House of Assembly says governance is a continuum, and currently the state government has just purchased 200 trailers load of fertilizer because of the priority the government places on agriculture.
In education sector, he has a good plan and reformed. In health sector, he has a good plan and reform.
Stakeholders are of the view that consolidating and promoting accelerated rural development through basic infrastructures will boost rapid economic growth in the country. Adamu Sunday, NTA News.
That was Adamu Sunday reporting from Kaduna. With the indices of progress noticed in the policies of the present administration in Nigeria, some stakeholders are calling for deliberate investments in infrastructure, railway and the seaports in the Niger Delta region to stimulate the blue economy. This was by sharing their views on priority areas of development in the Niger Delta region. Robinson Deratide reports.
The Niger Delta region, with over 70% wetland, is the center of attraction for the country's blue economy policy. The policy option aimed at addressing poverty, unemployment, and increased economic development can only be achieved if infrastructure in the maritime sector, particularly the eastern seaports in Warri, Port Harcourt, Onne, and Calabar, are given priority attention. State governments in the region are urged to support the federal government in railway and road construction, mostly to the coastal areas of rivers, Bayelsa, Cross River, and Akwa Ibom states, to tap the oceanic and oil potentials of the region.
If the federal government wants to really assist river states, the ports and other areas where you influence foreign investment should also be taken care of by the federal government, and the projects that only the federal government should take care of that are taken care of by the state government. The federal government can also as well reimburse the state government to also do more.
Matters relating to the proposed deep sea port in Akwa Ibom State, the legal framework should be perfected so that a takeoff can be assured.
Stakeholders are of the view that investment in agriculture, modular refineries, and sports by the state governments will help curb resurgence of youth restiveness in the Niger Delta region.
Focus more on the people of River State, how to develop the people, how to make them self-independent, to create wealth for themselves. So when you give them the enabling environment that affects also the IGR of the state, to also give us a better opportunity at the state.
The people also advise that the present administration should not concentrate development only in the cities, stressing that the rural and coastal communities of the Niger Delta region be given equal attention. In Port Harcourt, Robinson Deratide, NTA News.
Still on economic development, Nasarawa State government says the mining of lithium solid mineral in the state will create 500 direct jobs for youth in the state. Governor Abdullahi Sule gave the cheering news while on inspection of the factory site in Nasarawa town. Ali Tijani reports.
With large deposit of lithium, a mineral resources needed for the production of batteries, Nasarawa State has attracted foreign investors willing to mine the mineral resources. More than $100 billion is expected to be invested in the construction of the factory in Nasarawa town, with 50 Chinese expatriates and 500 youths to be engaged in the mining and processing of lithium. With the capacity to process 3,000 metric tons of lithium daily, the factory will be a game changer in the industrialization drive of the state government.
We encourage this company, to start mining lithium here. In addition to the mining, to now construct a factory so that they can be producing the finished product here, rather than taking the raw lithium out of Nasarawa State.
Lithium is needed for the production of batteries and currently rated with high commercial value at the international market. On the impact of the mining activities in the area, Governor Abdullahi Sule says adequate measures have been taken for the reclamation of the land. From Nasarawa, Aliu Tijani, NTA News.
In other news, Global Amnesty Watch has commended President Bola Tinubu for far-reaching decisions taken by his administration so far that are boosting investors' confidence and restoring hope of the citizens towards achieving sustainable development. Saluk Wanara reports on this and other engagements by members of the All Progressives Congress Youth Development Forum in Abuja.
Activities of the current administration within 1 month upon assumption of office has endeared many including the Global Amnesty Watch, which acknowledged government policies so far as steps towards addressing challenges and sustaining the democratic gains of the country.
The Global Amnesty Watch commends the step by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has taken, given the necessity to address the security challenges in the country. Nigeria needs stability to bring about sustainable development. It recognizes these presidential interventions and solicit for more sound socio-economic policies and programs.
Meanwhile, the All Progressives Congress Youth Development Forum has appealed to the party's stakeholders to uphold the principle of rewarding hard work among members.
The menace of eye service and the attendant betrayal, misleading, name-dropping, scheming and manipulations among political actors, especially when their party emerges victory, needs to be addressed.
The group believed that planned reforms towards entrenching good governance and national development should be a collective task by all patriotic citizens. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
A bit from the foreign scene, the rusting remains of 8 British Hurricane fighter planes dating back to World War II have been found buried in a forest in Ukraine. The aircraft were sent to the Soviet Union by Britain after Nazi Germany invaded the country in 1941. They were part of the package of Allied military support for the USSR paid for by the United States under the Lend-Lease scheme. Similar legislation is set to be used by the U.S. government today to send military aid to Ukraine as it seeks to expel Russian forces from the country. Aviation experts say this is the first time the remains of so many hurricanes have been found in Ukraine. And back home, Nigerians who have sacrificed their lives for the nation should not be forgotten. Chief of Defense Staff and other service chiefs made the recommendation at the 2023 Interdenominational Church Service for the Nigerian Army Day.
Army Day Interdenominational Church Service was to celebrate and remember gallant officers and soldiers in the Nigerian Army who have laid their lives for the defense of the sovereignty of the country.
I will never leave you nor forsake you. 6. Be strong and courageous, because you will lead these people to inherit the land and swore to their ancestors to give them. Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go.
With the theme, Sound Administration as a Panacea for Effective Military Operations, the Christian Role, all the new service chiefs were in attendance.
With my assumption of command as the 23rd Chief of Army Staff, I want to implore Nigerians that they should continue to support the Nigerian Army, and I pledge the honor loyalty of the troops to our Constitution and the government of the day. We will do all within our power to combat every security challenges that are confronting our country, meet the expectations of Nigeria to provide a safe, secured environment for economic activities to thrive.
The Interdenominational Church Service, which is the first for the new service chief, focuses on prayers for the security and stability of the nation and for divine direction for the security personnel for effective service delivery.
Be it military men, be it technocrats, businessmen and women, down to the common man in the society of Nigeria. Every man must play his role very well for us to succeed.
Different groups render soul-lifting praises to God Almighty. Rosemary Mortel and Bilal, NTA News.
Now let's take you to Enugu, where it was entertainment galore for army children of both Muslim and Christian inclinations. As a director, General Officer Commanding 82 Division hosts families of soldiers of the division in the spirit of Eid al-Kabir. Mina Adobe Wakaobasi reports.
Defying the rain, which they termed showers of blessings,
Army children and wives of 82 Division Cantonment Enugu danced away in happiness and joy, depicting the reason for the celebration, which is Salah, organized by the General Officer commanding 82 Division, Major General Aminu Shinade, to thank God for the privilege of life to witness the 2023 celebration. There were dance presentations on the lineup of the events. The first was a dance by the Naowa group of schools pupils. It was a drama titled Unity in Diversity. A dance performance by the Igbo Cultural Dance Group and Tiv Dance Groups followed swiftly. Fulani Dance Troupe and Hausa Dance Troupe were not left out of the activities of the day. The hip-hop dancers wrapped up the dance of the day with well-choreographed dance steps that entertained the guests. At the end of the event, Juliet Eze, who represented the wife of the GOC, had this to say.
GOC just put it together to entertain families in the barracks. He just want the barracks to be happy, to stay together, enjoy together, and that is what we are preaching, unity in our diversity.
Indeed, the Army Children's Sala Party was a melting ground where friendship and family bonds were built and sealed with lots of happiness and joy.
Entertainment gala indeed. Now let's talk security. Ebonyi State Police Command has paraded 24 suspects for alleged kidnapping and armed robbery. 9 of those paraded were allegedly involved in the killing of an INEC staff and kidnap of his wife. Ijoma Peter Nwote tells us more.
Briefing journalists on the recent breakthroughs and successes recorded by the command through intelligence gathering and community-based policing, the Commissioner of Police, Ebonyi State Command, explained that the 24 suspects arrested and paraded at the Ebonyi State Police Headquarters were allegedly involved in armed robbery and kidnapping in the state. He said 9 out of the 24 suspects were allegedly involved in the kidnap of Mrs. Igwe Charity Nwosu, an INEC staff in Ebonyi State, whose husband was also shot and killed along Lopanta.
Since I stepped here, I told you I would give them a fight, bloody one. We have engaged them, and we have succeeded.
Some of the suspects interviewed denied involvement in the crimes.
Whose gun is this? This is a community. This is a community gun. They gave me owned by Igiriga. Who is that Igiriga? Igiriga is a friend. It's a friend of mine, which I know. I was connected to Igiriga through a friend. Okay.
So the guy now said, okay, he will go and arrange guys that can come over to the fuel station and attack the man. I looked at it, I said no, because the thing will affect me because he's my neighbor and this is my shop.
Items recovered from the suspects include an AK-47 rifle with 13 rounds of live ammunition, a G3 rifle with a magazine of 9 live bullets, 1 pump action gun, locally fabricated single-barrel guns, and a Lexus 330 RS saloon car. In Abakaliki, Ijoma Peter Nwote, NTA News.
Still on security, the police in Akwa Ibom State has arrested a total of 269 suspects for various crimes within the second quarter of the year. Kelvin Samuel reports that 3 of the suspects are allegedly involved in the kidnap of the vice chancellor of a private university in Akwa Ibom State.
Thursday Okon is a domestic staff of a vice-chancellor of a private university in Akwa Ibom State who allegedly arranged the kidnap of his boss with the help of his friends on the victim's way from the church, seeking for 8 million naira ransom. Luck ran out on the alleged culprit as a prompt response of the anti-kidnapping squad of the police led to the arrest within 48 hours of the incident. Akwa Ibom State Police Commissioner Olatoye Durosimi says a suspected ritualist with human skull fraudsters involved in fake alerts, suspected murderers are among those currently in the police net.
So be very careful about those who are working with you. Do not tell them everything. He was able to tell them about the 5 million naira that's in the man's account, and that was the basis of negotiation. At the same time, you have seen the man who goes about giving fake alert, who said he's a medical doctor. Don't allow anybody to just examine you when you are not sure of his qualification. It's a warning. We will not tolerate cultism in Akwa Ibom State.
While some of the suspects are already in court, others will soon be arraigned. Exhibits, including 1.2 million naira cash, are currently in the custody of the police. In Uyo, Kevin Samuel, NTA News.
And next is sports update.
Four-time Nigeria Premier League winners Kano Pillars has taken the first step to promotion into the 2023-2024 Nigeria Premier League season with a decisive win over EFCC of Abuja. Kano Pillars clinched the first maximum points of the Nigeria National League promotional playoffs following a William Sunday's 47-minute goal at the Stephen Keshi Stadium in Asaba, Delta State. Meanwhile, in the other game, Katsina United beat DMD FC 2-1 to also get the maximum points and top the Northern Conference group. Still on football, Super Falcons are expected to open camp in Australia for their final phase training for the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup being co-hosted by Australia and New Zealand. The players and officials departed the shores of the country Sunday after being hosted by Nigeria's First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, to a dinner party in Abuja. Nigeria is in Group B alongside host Australia, Republic of Ireland, and Canada. International certified gymnastic coach Anthony Asuko has called for more government support for the sports in Nigeria, stressing the need to upgrade standard for podium finishes. Coach Anthony stated this in Abuja at the TIG level system training of young gymnasts aiming to become professionals.
Before now, we had our first aid course for the coaches. So back to back, we've been having programs, and this is just how to go about it.
And finally, to volleyball, Nigeria's under-21 girls have departed the country for Niamey, Niger Republic, ahead of the 2023 African Under-21 Girls Zone 3 Nations Championships. The delegation, comprising of 12 players and their coaches, left Kaduna on Sunday. According to the head coach, Rakia Mohammed, the players who have been in camp for 3 weeks in preparation for the championships in Niger Republic are looking to pick the ticket to participate in World Championship in Thailand. With sports updates, Olalekan Kelajolu, NTA News.
Thank you, Lekon, for the updates. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, commiserates with the leadership and members of the Salvation Army over the death of their officers and members in a fatal accident along the Lagos-Benin Expressway. The Senate President, in his condolence message, describes the accident, which claimed lives of 12 officers of the church and a baby while returning from a missionary assignment in Lagos State, as shocking. He extends deep condolences to the Territorial Commissioner, Daniel Kasuso, prayed for the repose of the souls of the departed and fortitude to bear the loss. And that's Nationwide today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Elizabeth Omori. Good evening.